Hello, this is JJ Humphrey and Bobby Cleveland. We're back on Elephant in the Room. It's just me and old Bob today, and we got a lot of stuff to talk about, man. Bob, there's all kinds of things going on, but we always like to start with our little pet peeve. Bob, today I'm going to get to pick the pet peeve. You know what? Okay. What's my pet peeve today, Bob? Internet. You know, I'm out here in the country and I wait for all this internet to get here. So I wait to get fiber, and I had a person I got to say keeps telling me to get the Elon Musk satellite. And I was like, no, I got this grant. I'm going to help. I'm going to get fiber. I get fiber, Bob. I'm paying pretty good. I get rid of the others that I've got. So I have to do all that, get rid of satellites, all of that. Then I get this fiber in. Takes forever. And guess what?
What?
It's slower than what I had before. It's worse than what I had before. And then I find out that, have you ever heard of that? What is that? It's a Chinese company that they run the CEO out of Australia and they run them out of America. Yahweh, is it called Yahweh, Bob? I think it's called Yahweh.
Okay.
Anyways, now I find out the company I'm signed up with, that it seems highly likely that they may have Yahweh.
So you're in business with the Chinese? That's what you're trying to say?
Yeah. But here's the deal, Bob. They were paid to get rid of it. What I understand, it didn't get rid of it, kept them. So now I got the Chinese in my house. I got the Chinese. I got all kinds of government stuff on my computer at the house in this office. Guess what? I got the Chinese government in my house, in my office, and now they backdoored the Capitol with all that. That is a pet peeve to me. I'm a little mad about that, Bob. We're going to get to the bottom. I can tell you we'll be having an elephant in the room on this before very long, because I'm going to get the shovel out and start digging on this little deal and find out what's going on.
Why don't you get that satellite one to talk about?
Well, I think I am, but I think I'll sue this company and make them pay for it, because I done spent all the money signing up with them, hooking up, done got rid of my old ones. Why should I have to pay for them when they got paid to get rid of that? And now here I am. I sign up and they're worse than, and got Chinese government coming in. I think I'm going to file a small claims, and I'm peeved, Bob. I'm going to get on it.
Yeah, you file small claims against the Chinese government. That'll get right on it.
Bob, you know me well. I'm not letting it go. I'm like one of them dogs.
Well, I know.
I'm like a dog bit in. I ain't giving up. They screwed me. I'm gonna put the spurs on. I'm gonna put them big Mexican Rouse spurs on, and I'm gonna go gouging them. I'm gonna go ride this puppy. It's gonna get rodeo, I promise you.
I think that's probably the biggest pet peeve we've had so far.
It is, because I'm telling you that it's espionage. I mean, here's the deal. I got the government backdooring our Capitol building, because all my stuff goes to Capitol building. It's espionage. I'm going to be writing the governor saying, hey, what's up? Why y'all letting this go on? I'm going to write the FCC. I'm going to write the broadband board and say, what the crud's going on? Oh, y'all slipped up on this one. But I got to get it verified. So it's alleged until I verify it. But I already started digging a little bit. It looks like I got some proof. So we'll rock and roll. Bob, big deal this week. We'll start off with the big deal. See what you thought. Ryan Walters, he announces that he's going to resign. What's your thoughts, Bob?
Well, I hate to see him go. I thought he was trying to try his best, but they just kept after him every little thing. They just give him a hard time, and he you can't get a lot done with that this going on. Look at it. Look at Trump. Look at how they do Trump, and he still makes it. He just goes right on. That's what's been going on here with education. But what they want is they say they want some new. They got to get some people in there. They got to get us back to what we're doing. We were 49 under your friend. 49.
Oh, you talking about old Joyless Hofschuster?
Yeah. We're 49. And not only that, she ran her campaign out of the government office and did nothing happen there.
That's true. I turned that in to everybody, Bob. I turned that in to everybody. Had massive proof on it. Nobody do nothing. She got caught dead banger doing that.
Well, they act like that he just did a horrible job.
Hey, Bob, let's not forget that under her, we had one of the biggest, with Epic, one of the biggest things. And here's the deal. They went after old Epic, and to this day, that's 4 years ago, they haven't done anything to them. So what they have, but they never charged her. How can they have her on the other side and never charge her when they've got documents? I've given them documents that show she's involved. And again, you know what? Nothing at all. And then, and here's what's funny, Bob. Let's think about Joyless Hofschuster. She had the Epic scandal. She had the pushing transgender. We caught her dead banger. I turned her in on that one too. On transgender, pushing that through Title IX. She tried to hijack Title IX. We got the documents. We sent it all in. She tried to hijack Title IX. Wait.
On sports.
Yes. Way before this was an issue. She was doing this like a year or two before that became the big issue. I turned her in on it. I tried to set up a meeting with her and all the pastors, and she refused to do it. And then I turned her in. OCPA, I think, was the only one that carried that. Ray Carter, I believe, was the only one that carried that news deal. Maybe one other radio station. But, I mean, look at all the scandals, like you say, using her office campaign. She got caught. She actually got charged, Bob, with illegal campaign contributions, if I remember right. And that mysteriously got dismissed.
Well, the biggest thing they got on Ryan was biggest thing was with that nude. He watched a nude channel, which wasn't true. I mean, wasn't accurate.
Which was a lie. It was the most ridiculous. But, Bob, they were investigating him. They were subpoenaing. They were investigating. They were trying to impeach him. They were trying to do something every 5 minutes on him. Now, I understand he's controversial, the Bible in the school thing, controversial. I understand that he was very controversial.
Can you believe the Bible was so controversial?
Bob, I can't believe how many people that go to church are, that's controversial to them. And I get what people are saying that, if you have somebody who is, say, let's say a Mormon versus a Baptist or something. Do they want a Catholic versus, Methodist, or a Methodist and a Baptist, or Church of Christ? You understand there's a lot, but can we not agree on the things that are historical value? That's what the Supreme Court said, that you can teach things that are of historical value. We have our foundation of the United States was built on biblical principles. Our foundation is rooted on biblical principles. And to pretend like that doesn't exist in our history or cut that out of our history I ain't gonna say criminal, but it's wrong. It's massively wrong. And that's what we should be looking at, is that we ought to teach that the Christian values is what, and again, Bob, if you're looking right now, I may run a bill. I don't know if anybody's introduced this yet, but the last thing I want to see is Sharia law. You're looking at a couple of these states. You remember when we had dinner with Sharon, one of our good friends from Ohio that me and Bob have gotten to know, and we're just really great friends with her. And she came in and visited, and we got to go to lunch together. And that's what she was like. Hey, right down the road from her there in Ohio, they're starting a city that will be Sharia law. And again, if you go down here to Irving, I think they're setting one up in Irving, Texas. I think Texas is trying to do a law that says we're not going to recognize Sharia law. we need to do something in Oklahoma to just say the same thing, that we're not going to regulate.
Some country, I don't remember which one it was. They were all up in the air over had a big march trying to kick them out of the country.
Right. Well, I'm going to tell you something. I think we have to be aware that we want U.S. law. If you don't want United States law, then go back to your own country. If you don't like the law here, take a hike and go back to. There's a reason you're here, because it's better. If you don't like it here, then get the hell out and go back to your own country. But, one of the things, Bob, that Ryan, and those are the values that Ryan was trying to instill. And I know he's really controversial. I know a lot of people in education really didn't like him. But I love him. I love Ryan.
Democrats, all Democrats.
Well, here's why I love Ryan, because I get in trouble myself quite a bit. And Ryan, I can depend on Ryan. If I get in trouble, if I wait for about 5 minutes, Ryan will pull the heat off of me, because he's gonna get something going for very long. He'll get in some trouble. So now I'm on my own. Now it's back to me just getting in trouble. So Ryan is taking a position as the CEO for the Teachers Freedom Alliance, Bob.
He's going to go after the teachers union, which he should.
Well, the old teachers union, and again, Bob, a lot of people don't like unions. You know that. But there's some good came out of unions. They just went woke. They just lost their mind is the problem. And so we work with a group called an association that is not a union, and it's an employee association. People try to confuse it with the union. But the teachers union, again, if you look at a lot of the agenda that they're pushing, man, it is a Marxist, it's an anti-American government. And if you look at what's going into our schools and some of that, again, I know people who are good teachers, good people. Now, Bob, he'll have a harder time believing that, but I do. I love our public education. Get along great with a lot of our public education. But I will say there's a difference. Bob, if you come down here where I'm at, down here in southeastern Oklahoma, our educational system is just vastly different from y'all's up there.
So it's okay for you to have a teachers union in your part of the country.
Well, we have they have the teachers union, and what's that other one?
Ginger Teddy's group. They're not in the union. They don't. The union one who controls. They want to control. They pay how much pay there is. They do all this? They go in and control a lot more of your life than what the.
Right. There's one POE or something like
POE.
Is it POE?
Professional Oklahoma Educators.
Well, look at there, Bob. I'm impressed, son. You get the gold star today. Wow. So, yeah, that one, I know a lot of our teachers belong to that one down here. I have seen them kind of, I can't remember the lady that's big on running that. They did kind of get after her a little bit.
Ginger Tenney.
Who was it?
Ginger Tenney.
Yeah.
She's a good person.
Yeah, they've been on her pretty hard here lately, I've noticed. But yeah, I would say good person. And again, I know some that's in the other what's the other union called?
OEA, Oklahoma Education.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one that a lot of people are pretty ticked off, and that's the one I think Ryan is possibly fighting.
That's nationwide. He's doing a deal nationwide, not just Oklahoma, nationwide. But he'll do a good deal. He'll do good on that. And there's a lot of money behind it. And so I'm excited.
Well, I know I meet quite often with those people in the OEA from down here. And again, those people are decent people. But when you get up, it's kind of like cattlemen's. I love our local cattlemen's. They're great, but if you go look at the state cattlemen's, the state and then the national, hey, they ain't helping you. They're fighting you. They come down and act like your friend. They're fighting.
What about this deal on Drummond, where he's got several things on court? He stopped y'all from, what was it?
What's that? The Richard Glossop?
Well, no. What was he trying to get? You had a petition out there trying to get something.
Oh, now he didn't stop the petition. That was the court. But Bob. He ain't stepped in. You had the Lincoln County and Pottawatomie County DA ask him to do a multi-county grand jury. He come back and said not enough evidence. Well, hey, right after he said that, the judge that all of them been griping about, her bailiff come in and walks in and said, hey, y'all get somebody here because I'm fixing to give you a whole statement. And she just toasted her, saying how she's playing favoritism, how she's kicking cases out that shouldn't be kicked out, how she's going against people.
Now who's that now?
Yeah. And then they found that what's that?
Are you talking about the judge? When you said
and the judge got found guilty of judicial misconduct. Guess what? They left her right there. But here's Drummond saying no evidence. Well, how about it now, Drummond? Everything that they were saying, this lady who worked right hand with her, and now that she's been found guilty of it, but y'all ain't done nothing and left her on the bench. We've got CPS all over. We got the kids that got molested at Tulsa. We got the kids waterboarding at Greer, and he said no evidence, massive evidence. We've got
what we had at DLC on the rapes.
Oh yeah. He has turned down. He has not investigated anything, Bob, and he claims, well, we investigated them rapes. You did not. You didn't talk to one witness. You went over and asked the guy we accused of lying, and by the way, they wouldn't bring him over to our hearing, and you went over and said, did you lie? And he goes, absolutely not. Okay, investigation done. We're cleared. Didn't talk to one witness. Didn't talk to the whistleblower. Didn't talk to me. Prepared that. Didn't talk to the victims. That ain't an investigation. What's
the deal on Drummond and Richard Glossop? How's that gotten started?
Well, here's the deal, Bob. You know, Drummond joined us in saying that there had been that the DA destroyed evidence that would have freed this guy, cleared this guy, destroyed 10 key pieces of evidence, and then he refused to file charges on them. He refused to file charges on those DAs, saying, well, it's been too long. Well, hell, tell that guy that's been sitting in prison 27 years it's been too long. It ain't clear. And now he's wanting to prosecute him again when he went all the way to Supreme Court, said that the appellate court didn't do right, the pro board didn't do right. He went to Supreme Court and argued all of these things, that the guy couldn't get a fair trial, that the guy was treated poorly. Then he wouldn't file charges. In that time, he made a deal. He made the deal, not somebody else. He made the deal to say, if this guy's case gets overturned by the Supreme Court, we're going to just offer him something like accessory to a crime and then let him go with time served. Okay, that was the deal. Everybody agreed on it. Now here he comes. He does get overturned, but instead of Drummond keeping his word, he backpedals, he breaks his word, and comes back and says, no, I'm going to get with the DAs and prosecute. Now, what he's trying to do, he's trying to use this case to further his run for governor, to make it look like now that he's somehow stronger on law enforcement. Drummond, if you want to be, just strong on law enforcement, go after the corrupt DAs. That's who you ought to be going after. Not spending an extra $1 million trying to prosecute somebody you can't get a fair trial, not trying to break your word and cost the state of Oklahoma millions of dollars so you can look like you're somehow tougher on crime than you are. Everybody knows you're not. You hadn't investigated one thing, and then, boom, you break your word. But Bob...
Now, how did he break his word?
Well, he called them up. He said, see, Bob, what you got to understand is that before the Supreme Court ruled, he's sitting over here going, you know what? I think I'm going to get a deal made so in case this happens that I won't have to have any big deal. We'll make a deal, and if Supreme Court overturns, then I've got a deal where he pleads guilty, where he's not going to come back to sue the state, and we got it all taken care of. Now, he made that deal. He called them and said, hey, here's what I'd like to do. Would y'all agree? They agreed. Deal made. They even called the Department.
Was it in writing?
Yeah, I think they do have writing. And I know they called the Department of Corrections to see can he get his good time and would they be eligible and would that release him? And it would. And so, again, there's multiple factors in this to prove a deal was made. So, again, will the court recognize it? I don't think there's going to be a question, was there a deal? The question will be, was the deal binding and can the deal be enforced? That's going to be the question. But here's the deal. It don't make a darn, almost cuss, don't make a darn, Bob. If I give you my word, I give you my word. And obviously his word ain't very good because he gave his word. He's the one who called up, gave his word. Now he's backpedaling on that. It's, Bob, and it's going to cost the state millions. I don't think there's any way they can find this guy guilty. They've done destroyed all the evidence. All their witnesses gone. The one witness they have, which is the guy who killed the person, has lied so many times. Which lie you going to believe on him? They've got documents showing where he wrote and said, hey, I want to recant. I should never said this. It was wrong. I think they've got that. So, Bob, let me tell you something else Drummond has done here lately. Boy, he just keeps stepping in it. He just keeps stepping in it all the time. So he's got a case, a death penalty case, which I wrote him the other day. And I said, actually, I wrote to the governor and I CC'd him on it and said, hey, looky here, let me show you the evidence in Tremaine Woods' death penalty case. So Tremaine Woods, now let me tell you, this guy and his brother are waiting upstairs in an apartment. Two girls that they're in conspiracy with go down to the bar and get two guys, promise them sex, bring them up to the room, and these two guys, the Woods brothers, are going to jump on them and beat them down and rob them, and it goes bad. One of them ends up dead. Now, the Tremaine's brother is the one who actually killed the guy. But Tremaine's brother gets life without parole. Tremaine gets the death penalty. How all this stuff is working, it's just beyond me. You know what I'm saying? But one of the things they do, that one of these girls end up testifying, and she's got a lot of felony case there. And so what happens, her cases are out of Payne County. So she goes in there and the DA goes in to the judge and says, hey, this girl has completed probation successfully. Now I went and found a probation violation report that says she violated every rule and plus killed somebody, conspired to rob and robbed. So here you've got every rule being broken, all this conspiracy, rob, kill, and all this. How are you going to walk in there and say she successfully completed probation? That's a lie. It's perjury, Bob. And so they committed perjury on the court to get her case dismissed so that they could use her as a witness and say she didn't have any felonies on her background. It's corrupt. It's wrong. They made some kind of deal with her. Bob, they said in the court that she's going to get 45 years. She only did 6 years, Bob. So there's a lot of squirrely stuff going on here. And so I write, and he writes the governor back a 40-page letter that basically J.J. Humphrey's crackhead don't know what he's talking about. I'll summarize it down. And so anyways, I see about 30 days after that, well, this Tremaine Woods gets a continuance on his death case. And I'm like, well, now if old JJ's a crackhead, why did they do that? So I'm working with his attorneys. Come to find out, they catch him doing ex parte, which is basically having communications. I think Now
wait a minute, just hold on a second. They caught who?
Drummond. They caught Drummond.
Now you're on Drummond, okay.
Okay, so they caught old Drummond having communications with one of the appellate court judges. And I can name him, but I'm not. So they get him having communications, talking about this case and just moving this case on is my understanding. Okay, well, that's not right. You can't go in and have a conversation with the judge without the other guy's representation. You can't get a favor. Oh, hey, Judge, let's leave the defense out of the room. Well, I'll tell you what I want you to do, and I tell you what we ought to just, Judge, let's just skip the whole deal, and you just do what I want to do.
Well, that sounds like it's dangerous to me when he's trying
hey, they're doing it all the time. This is going on. This is the court system we have, and this is the guy who wants to be a governor, and he's caught dead banger doing it. So in my understanding, we got the emails. I'm working with them to come out and make this public. And so, again, I think some of the news media is already aware of this. But, yeah, I mean, he's backdoored. You talk about backyard politics. I mean, in the back alley, getting her done. And again, Bob, here's what's funny. In Glossop's, me and Kevin McDougal, Representative McDougal at the time, we had to sue the DAs, basically the same thing, doing this backdoor stuff, having conversations with the pro board. I suspect they have them with the appellate court as well. I'd bet a pretty good chunk of money on it that they did. And that's what we've got going on. They cheat. Bob, when you catch them, they've got a deal called Brady rule. And Brady is where they can't withhold stuff. Okay. So that's part of the Brady. Okay. They can't withhold stuff. They have a duty to turn that over. Well, guess what? They withhold stuff all the time. They withhold it. And then when they get caught, oh, okay, you caught us. And guess what they do to them? Nothing. So you think they care? They don't do stuff because it's right. You know, we like to think that these judicial uphold the law. And we like to think that the AG would uphold the law. And we'd like to think that, you know, the DAs that's top in our state for upholding the law would uphold their law. Guess what? They cheat. They underhand. They backdoor. They're scandalous, Bob. They're scandalous, and then they get offended at anybody who has the nerve to call them out. You know, I've called them out on fraud on that probation. They're fraudulently using probation fees. The AG can't be dumb enough. He's smart. AG's smart. He knows I'm telling the truth, and he won't prosecute it. Because guess what? He don't want to get sideways with him. And what's funny, Bob, if that boy had half a brain, he'd know that if he'd do that kind of stuff, he'd be a shoo-in. If Drummond would stand up and been the guy that he should have been, went after them DAs, went after those judges that did wrong, and just if he would have just, Bob, I've gotten a new saying, and I've started saying, you know, politics is tough. Politics is tough, but right and wrong is easy. If he'd just done right and wrong, just do right and wrong. Just stand up and do right and wrong. But he ain't got no right and wrong.
Ex parte? What you say? How you pronounce that?
Yeah, ex parte.
Okay, now, JJ, I try to keep up to date on what's going on, but I've never heard this. Heard of this before with Drummond.
Yeah, it's pretty common, Bob. They do it all the time. This just means that. Let me give you where ex parte is happening all the time. You've got the DHS that are going in and talking to the judges all the time, laying out these cases. Right. And the family member, the dad, the mom, guess what? They don't get to go in there and lay that out. So when they all come in, deal's already done. Deal's already made. Everybody in the back room knows what's fixing to happen, and they come in and do it. That's not justice. That's not fairness. That's not. The blind lady's supposed to keep the bandage on her. She's supposed to keep the blindfold over her eyes. When you go back there and one side gets laid all out to the judge and say, hey, you this is what you need to do. That's not blind justice. That's one-sided justice. Okay, and that's what we're getting.
I've never, it's just me, because I try to keep up on what's going on, but I've never heard Drummond being accused of that before.
Well, they ain't never caught him with the daggum emails to the appellate court before. And now they have the emails, is my understanding, that they actually have written email communication between him and one of the appellate judges. Okay. So, I mean, if you have a direct email showing that you're having a backdoor communication And that's what, I mean, ex parte, that's all it's talked about. It's just backdoor private conversation between you and him that shouldn't be existed. You know what I'm saying? You're supposed to have that person's lawyer or that person in there to argue their side of the case. The judge is supposed to be unbiased. He's not supposed to be biased and listen to one side without the other side present. And again, that's what's going on a lot in our court system. It's overwhelming.
Well, I was a volunteer. I forgot what they call it for DHS. And I remember going to the judge's office just prior to we going to court, and they was telling the judge, how it works and everything, what the guy's done, blah, blah, blah. And he had some numbers, but they didn't have another lawyer in their other side. So that's what you call that then. Yeah,
Bob. And again, the judge is not supposed to be listening to the case. Now, the DA may want to call everybody in there because the DA's the prosecutor. So the DA can call you in and say, hey, if you're one of these civilian representative kids advocate, they have a name for that, and I can't think of it either. But yes, then I want to come in, and as a DA, I want to hear what you're going to say before I put you up on witness stand. You're my witness, okay? So again, that's fine. That's okay. But to go down to the judge and present this case on one side, the judge is supposed to be unbiased. He ain't supposed to be listening to all that. Now, does it happen? Absolutely. Have I been probably part of some of that? Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? Now, the right way, I've had many times where the judge would say afterwards, where we have a hearing, Mr. Humphrey, I want to see you. And then, hey, I want to know how to sentence, how to do this, how to do that, how to do that. We weren't talking on the case. That's fine. I'm giving him advice. What is the appropriate sentencing measures? That's okay. But if I'm back there before court going, Judge, I want you to know it's sucker, it's sorry, sucker. Da 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 da. I did that. I laughed one time. I went in, I was mad. About the only time I've ever been mad. This old boy had been hired to kill me a couple of times. And then he's just pain in my butt. And he was into something all the time. And I went in there and I told the judge, I said, Judge, I'm gonna tell you something. If you don't do such with this, you don't do da da da. Boom. And I walked out. Next day I come back and I said, Judge, I want to tell you something. You probably need to take me off that case. I'm a little bit too close to it. He threatened to kill me. And I said, yeah, Judge, if I ever come back in here and try to tell you how to do your job, would you please just bend me over and kick my hiney out your office? He said, you needed to vent. He said, we're going to take care of this case and you're not going to have no part of it. I said, that's probably the best. And that's what a judge should do. You know what I'm saying? Judge, okay. Let me vent. Judge, listen.
Well, what about the resignation of these guys at the governor's top 4 people?
How about that, Bob? I mean, does that not look pretty sketchy to you? What's up with that? Now, you want to know something else? What's up with Rick Rose? Why is what's going on? Did you see where Drummond took credit for all of this?
Yeah. Well, now it's my understanding that Rick Rose had already sent a letter of resignation. He just didn't like working for the government. He's going. He already sent his letter in for resignation. This other just came in the way.
Yeah. Well,
that was already in place.
It's my understanding Drummond's trying to say the reason they all resigned was because of him, because he'd gotten on it, gotten on the governor and he got after him. So he's trying to take some credit for it. I don't know how in the world he takes it. Now, I was reading, I don't know where I was reading this, Bob, but I was reading something kind of from Rick Rose, and we both know Rick Rose. I like Rick. He seems like an okay guy. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I don't know anything negative on him. I mean, no more than anybody else, But here's the thing. I think that Rick Rose got on Drummond because Drummond doubled his budget. You know what I'm saying? Like if I'm not mistaken, Rick Rose was saying,
questioned him on that and questioned him buying a car.
Yeah, they got a big argument over he wouldn't pay for the cars, and they got this big argument over Drummond just doubling the size of his staff and all of this money on. Now, here's a guy going to run for governor, and by damn, he can't. You know what I'm saying? He's doubling the money of. We're going to.
I think Rick Rosen is talking about that. As Republicans, we're supposed to have less government.
Yeah.
Under him, he's triple the size of his government.
Yeah, I mean, he's like enlarged it twofold, maybe triple. And again, Rick was calling him out on that, and they had a pretty open kind of war. What I have caught, just bits and pieces I caught. And again, I can just tell you this: if I'd been Rick Rose, and of course that's the way I am. If I'd called him out on it, hey, I'd plant a flag and I wouldn't move. They had them what they used to call them Comanches, I think. The ones down there in Lawton. Which Indian tribe is it in Lawton, Bob?
I think it's Comanches.
I think Comanches. But anyways, I can't remember whether they called them buffalo or dog soldiers. That they would go out there and they would plant like an arrow in the ground, and then they'd tie themselves to it, and basically, or a spear. And what they were saying is, I won't move. And no matter how many enemy come at them, they would not move, and they would just, they'd fight it out to the end. And man, I'm gonna tell you something. If I'd been Rick and that was going on with old Drummond, I'd have planted that spear. I'd have tied myself to it and said, we're gonna die on this hill right here because I ain't moving. And in fact, I intend to. Walk away from me.
Rose could make a decision. The governor did.
Right. But at the same time,
he did plant a hill. He wasn't going to do it because the governor told him to do it.
Well, I will just tell you this, Bob. It looks sketchy when you have 4 of your top members resign. And I will tell you this: if you haven't had scandal, it don't look too sketchy. But when you had scandal after scandal after scandal after scandal after scandal, you know what I'm saying, Bob? I mean, the governor has had. I say all the time, this administration would make Gene Stipe blush. If y'all don't know who Gene Stipe was, we called him the Dark Prince. I mean, he never bought a piece of property that the turnpike didn't build on. I mean, that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? So here's the deal, Bob. When you're looking at tourism, Winchester, bam, he got barbecue all over him. When you're looking at what was Zimwalt, she had that illegal.
Money they gave
investment with it. And Bob, hey, by the way, I turned over something almost identical on OMMA the other day, taped 8 or 9 months ago. I turned that over to the state auditor. Ain't heard nothing yet. So again, add a whole lot of other stuff on that. But let's see. They had the COVID money missing, ARPA money missing, all under HARP.
The money missing in Cobra and the other one, the money's missing. It's a lot of money. It's not like $1 million here and there. It's in the millions of dollars.
It was all kinds of money. You got mental health missing like 90. You got DHS. Now, the state auditor come in going back 4 years ago, 4 years ago, with COVID money missing, I think OMES money, and then some DHS money. I think all that was true, maybe the COVID deal 4 years ago, who knows? But this year, not tied into that, I think they were missing $100 million.
Mental health DLC, they should have around 1,900 employees. They got a budget for 1,900 correction officers. A budget. Right. Got that for the budget. And they only have maybe 850 employees. So they're down. They
claim 12, Bob. They claim 12. That'd still be a big gap, but you and I both.
Where's that money at, though? Where is that money at?
Well, Bob, that's how we got. I mean, for our listeners, me and Bob found a $43 million raise in the Department of Corrections. Got it, not found it, got it. Everybody else talks about turn it in, blah, blah, blah. We got the $43 million going forward, found $80 million a year, turned it in on a 3-year, got $43 million of it going forward every year for a raise, no new appropriation. no new tax, money right there, simply on if Bob pays out, if I pay Bob for 100 employees, but he's only got 50, where's the other 50? We located 43 million out of that 50% or whatever it is.
Well, okay, that's in the past. But what we got now is right now happening just right as we talk.
Same thing. I mean, Bob, they're doing the same thing. Why change? Why change if it works? You know what I'm saying? They managed to get me and you off to the side, and again, now they're just right back to doing because we're the only one calling them out.
Well, and also again, the governor, they're buying whatever they want to buy on the budget. They buy different products. They don't have to put up for a bid or anything. They just go buy and get whoever they want to get it from.
Well, Bob, just like that office they got downtown, $100,000 a month is what I'm told. Never got government approval, and I showed them right there, required for government approval. Guess what? No, everybody and nobody at the Capitol. In fact, you were in that budget meeting, I think. JJ, shut up. You know, JJ, you can ask that question later. We don't want that public question. You know, hey, did you give yourself a raise? Yes. Did you do this? Yes. Did you get approval? Well, we went and talked to the speaker and we went and talked to the
and I wonder if the new director got the same salary he got.
You know, I hadn't checked yet, Bob, to see what kind of salary. You know, he's temporary, and I don't know whether he get appointed or not. But I hadn't checked to see if he's going to draw 275, equivalent to what Texas does. And Texas has a $3.5 billion DOC budget, while we have a $500 million DOC budget. Riddle me that, Bob. Tell me why. If you want to talk about scandal, this is kind of stuff we're talking about. Again, like I say, all the tourism scandal, all the OMS scandal, all the DHS. And again, we're talking about financial scandal. We're not talking about the scandal of all the rapes, the human, rights violations, the molestation, the waterboarding kids. Bob, and again, I will tell you another thing. Oklahoma, and you can go, I was in Washington, D.C. the other day. I'm working with a group that's nationwide on trying to bring up issues on the court and human trafficking and how many of these court issues tie in CPS, foster programs tie into this child trafficking and human trafficking. And if you want to go look at things that just are big red flags here in Oklahoma, I had a friend that's a nationwide reporter, and I gave her some information, and she come back and located it. One of the things that she looked at 2025 this year that we're in, they had roughly 215 undocumented kids brought to Oklahoma from the numbers that she sent me. I'm going off numbers this person sent me, but I would have great confidence in her numbers. But anyways, they can find, 97 of those kids were at Oklahoma County, 66 were in Tulsa. So at least 52 kids unaccounted for. Bob, that's just this year right here in Oklahoma, 52 kids unaccounted for. And again, I think that this is an alarming statistic that we should be looking into. If you look at, there's a program called Cherokee Federal. And if you want to pull them up, go Google, see if I'm got my facts straight. Go check me out on this. I want to say they got one of the largest grants from Homeland Security. So one of the largest grants from National Homeland Security given to this Cherokee Federal to bring in undocumented children. And if I'm not mistaken, we've got massive numbers of undocumented children unaccounted for through this. So again, I want to be careful because I'm saying things that I've read. I'm saying things that I'm hearing. I'm saying things that I think other people know to be true. But again, I don't want to go out and say this is. So we're saying this is alleged. But my gosh, man,
let's go back to the DOC in a second. Mm-hmm. We know that they don't have enough officers. We know that. Everybody knows that. They got all, and they're paying overtime. Then they're terminating people right and left. And which even it gets it worse for they're not replacing them.
That's stupid.
And it's that needs to be looked into, and it looks like the House or somebody would check into that. It's pretty simple.
Which one you think you want to look into worse? Department of Corrections or human trafficking? The CPS, kids getting waterboarded. Here's the deal. It's time to look into them all. You know what I'm saying? This is what's going on. And this ain't no maybe. This is not maybe. I don't know about Cherokee Federal. We need to look at it. That's why I'm always saying, look at it. See if this is true. See if it's untrue. But it's out there so much that it needs investigating. Kids being missing. We got 52 kids unaccounted for. Maybe y'all can account for them. Maybe we walk in there and go, but don't you think it's worth looking? Inmates being raped all the time, PREA being covered up, all these employees telling you, don't you think that's worth looking into? People locked in 2x2 cells and left 9 days with limited food or water, no bathroom breaks. Don't you think that warrants, with that coming from your own employees and you know it and you lie about it, murders being covered up constantly, people holding people hostage, employees holding other people hostage, nurses hostage, and having guns in their car on a DOC facility and no charges and go back to work. But a guy walks in with a little bitty pocket knife and you fire him and you're filing charges on him. Let's go figure all of that out. Kids being
if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong on this because this is what I heard. They fired a guy because he had a gun in his car that was locked. But this person who actually did the holding people hostage, they found a gun in her car.
2 guns.
And Bob, she's still there.
Bob, worse than that, the recent director, who is still director to my knowledge for a few more days, walked into death row carrying a gun on him into death row. Nothing. He left a shotgun in his vehicle and let inmates wash it. Nothing. Shot his own floor. Nothing, Bob. And then they're going to fire some guy who's got a locked, gun in his locked vehicle out in the parking lot. They're going to fire a guy who carries in a tiny knife, but yet somebody who holds other employees hostage for a pretty lengthy period of time and then turns around and had guns in her unlocked vehicle. Not a thing. No charge, back to work. Now go figure that out with kids being waterboarded. Bob, we have turned over so much evidence. This AG refuses to go after anybody. Our government refuses to go after. Everybody in our government from Stitt on down refused to investigate all of these things that we're calling out and so much more. I could go into broadband.
We're having inmates murdered at a high rate. No one's taking. They won't take a look at that.
Incredible rate, and nobody. And what's worse, you can't even get the news to report on, Bob. The news doesn't want to report. And what's worse is look at what we reported last week. How that when we bring this up, whether it be in a hearing, it gets shut down. Whether it's go to the OSBI, it gets shut down. Go have a grand jury, and guess what? Your own government and your judicial are up there fighting you. So you're fighting your own Oklahoma government, whether it be AG, whether it be the House, whether it be the Senate, whether it be the governor, whether it be these agencies. You are fighting every one of them every day to try to just get an investigation, not charge anybody, not go after anybody, just an investigation. Is it true? Is it not true? And then when they do file something, let's take Epic, for instance. Let's take Swadley's, for instance. What do? Guarantee you don't ever hear nothing. There's nothing that ever gets done. Bob, it is time. I mean, the people of the state of Oklahoma are going to have to say enough, and they're going to have to stand up and start going after and getting involved in these petitions, getting involved in demanding that these things are being investigated and demanding that charges are filed when we have proof that DAs go in and tell people, you take that 10 key pieces of evidence that would clear this man right over here, you stuff them in a box, you put the wrong case number on it, and you set it on fire so an innocent man can go up there and spend 27 years in prison, sit on the gurney 3 times and come this close to being killed. The only reason he ain't dead because they had the wrong medicine. And guess what? Oh, well, that happened 24 years ago, so we're not going to file charges on him. Well, bullshit. They need charges filed on them. It's time they get charges filed on them. And the AG is too weak and too got less backbone. Can't do it because he's afraid. He can't decide what side. How about doing what's right? Do what's right. And that's what ought to be done. And he don't have a clue on, you know what I'm saying? Everything he's looking at, does it get me closer to the governor? And really what's funny, you know, if he'd have stepped up and done what's right with the ATF, he wouldn't do that. He wouldn't step up and do what's right with COVID, wouldn't do that. You know what? He wouldn't step up and do what's right with prisons, wouldn't touch that. He wouldn't step up and do what's right with DHS, wouldn't touch that. But oh, guess what? I'm the reason Stitt got rid of his people because they were mad at me for doubling my caseload or doubling the size of my office. You know, that's what we got. We got him backpedaling. We got him not. But again, you know, Stitt's just, I voted for Stitt. I pushed Stitt. I got out campaigned for him both times. But like I said, Bob, we named scandal after scandal. And if you look at, Stitt said, we're going to be in top 10. We're going to top 10. Are we in top 10 on anything?
I don't think so.
You know what? We're in the 10, but you know where we're at?
We're probably number 1 of inmates being murdered.
Yeah, we're in the bottom. We're in the bottom part of the, we're in the wrong end, Bob. We're on, you know, you got 2 ends of the stick. We're on the wrong end. We're going to be top in inmate getting raped, top in inmates being murdered, top probably in incarceration. They like to say, well, we dropped that just by letting everybody out. If that's your policy, how to drop and become so you're no longer the most incarcerated is your plan, just turn them out. You remember that old show, what was that, had old Merlin Perkins fly around, Wild Kingdom. You remember that, Bob?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, how they just tagged them and they released them. That's what we got now. We just tag and release, you know what I'm saying? We just, hey, come in here, pay us some money, we'll release you. Come back in, pay us some more money, we'll release you. Go out there and steal something for us. Go out there and sell some dope for us. Go out there and prostitute yourself. Bring us some illegal money. We're like the cartel. We're the Oklahoma cartel. That's our DA's office right now.
Well, that's another thing. We got more drugs into our prison. And that's not me saying this. That's inmate after inmate after inmate. When they got out, that's what they've said. They've never seen so much drugs in there, so they've been incarcerated. Some of them been in 20 years, so they just never seen anything
Bob
like
ain't
it.
got no help. I mean, they ain't got nobody to stop it. Bob, every state agency right now, I would say the majority. There's a couple that's not. OBN, I'll brag on OBN. OHP's pretty, you know, I'll brag on OHP, OBN. You know, the highway department, I got issues on the turnpike stuff and how they do some of their bonding and stuff like that. But all in all, I get along with the turnpike people okay. But, you know, I mean, when you're talking mental health, DOC, DHS, OMMA, you know, and just a host of DAs, you know, I got issues with OCC. You know, DEQs, I think DEQ needs to be deregulated a lot. OCC needs deregulated, but I can get along with OCC a little. They've got some good people to work with. DEQ's got, but man, a lot of these are disasters. DHS, DOC, mental health are disasters. OJA, they got a new guy.
A lot of stuff going on wrong, but that OBN got more drugs than they ever have because there's more drugs brought in, but they're catching the drugs, the people that grow the drugs, fentanyl. You know, you see good things going on there. And I got a postcard on Drummond where I guess he went out and did a bunch of arresting and stuff because he's talking about.
Yeah, he created agency, and that's the deal. Why is Drummond doing that if we have OBN? Why are we duplicating an office Why are we letting him create money so that he can just say, look what I did? That's another ploy. Look what I did. Look what I'm doing. Instead of doing what's right and giving that money to OBN, sending those people, let's get more officers for OBN. He is supposed to be the prosecutor for the state. He's the state's lawyer, not the state's cop. The state's lawyer. He's got investigators, fine. That's fine. He needs a few, but he should let the OBN, OSBI, and Highway Patrol, let them do their job and let him do his job. But again, he won't do his job. He won't investigate the things we're talking about. Children being raped, children being waterboarded, inmates being raped, inmates being human rights violations, inmates being killed, covered up, kids being taken out of their home wrongfully without due process, kids being abused, turned over to abusive homes where they know the abuse is happening. He won't turn over a leaf. He won't turn nothing over, not one sheet of paper over to do something like that. But let me run out here and say, oh, I busted a bunch of dope that shouldn't even be his to start with. That's a huge problem. But again,
talk about this,
governor letting it happen too.
About this lady at the on the city council in Norman.
Boy, I forgot about that, bro. Bob, that's the big one that happened this week. We got so much going on. Bob, what did she say? Did she say that she hoped the person pulled the trigger, stuck a gun in their mouth and pulled the trigger?
Something along those lines. I don't know exactly what it was, but it's something pretty close to what you're saying.
Yeah, I think she said that about a Trump supporter and said, I hope he pulls the trigger. Let him put a gun in his mouth and pull the trigger.
I think he told that person that.
I didn't see the exact statement. I think she did tell that person that, and then she come back and apologized, and then it made
the city council, even though they knew it at the time, did nothing about it.
Yeah, the board knew it, and board wasn't going to do anything until the heat come on, and then they throwed her under the bus when the national heat come on. And so again, when the national heat come on, she resigned. Well, guess what? You know what? After you catch if you catch a whole lot of hell, okay, I'm gonna get off, and I'm so sorry. I'm sorry because somebody called me out on it. I'm sorry because now everybody knows how sorry it was. I'm sorry that people think I'm a troll now. You know what I'm saying? That I'm a terrible person. And again, but you weren't sorry when you said it. If you'd been sorry when you said it, you would apologize immediately. You would have apologized 2 or 3 days later. You would have come out and made an open statement that you apologized immediately after. But my understanding, the apology came and the getting off the board came only after the heat came. So again, I don't know, Bob, for sure. But again, this is kind of stuff when we're talking about rhetoric and we're talking about all of this, just hostility on that everybody ought to, we hope Republicans die or we hope Democrats die. Bob, you know what? Me and you was having a conversation about a Democrat representative that you and another, what I say is a conservative political figure, are planning to try to do a memorial for this Democrat because
Richard Morissette. Richard Morissette was a fun guy. I mean, I loved debating him, and that's when we had some good times there at the house. But Richard Morissette was a good guy. He's very, very carefully. He was smart, but you like to hear him talk because he was telling the truth.
Well, Don Condit, and there was another guy. I was trying to think what his name was. It started with C. His son was a highway patrol. I can just see him right now. They were both teachers, and they sat right when you come in. When you were there and I was there, right when you come in on that back part, them two sat there. It wasn't Canada. That's Chris's. Anyways, I can't remember his name. You'd probably remember him. But anyways, Bob, I had more fun with those guys. I remember one time I come in and I'd made a vote, and Don, he said, "Hey, Humphrey, come here." And I said, "What is it, Don?" He said, "If you're going to stick that vote, you better just turn around and walk out the door." And I said, Don, I said, these people don't scare me. I stand on my vote. They ain't going to change me. I went back here to my desk. Bob, them suckers flogged me. I mean, they flogged me. And I finally told them, I said, I'll tell you what I'll do. If y'all give me this, I'll change my vote right here. Wasn't nothing. It's one of them where they expect everybody to vote on the emergency deal. And it was the pro Tim's vote. And anyways, I changed. And I walked up there back to Don. I said, hey, he goes, yep, I told you.
But back then, you could have a debate. You could be hot. You could get hot on the floor. You could have a real strong debate. But afterwards, it's all over. We're friends.
Oh, yeah. Me and Johnny Tadlock. Johnny ended up becoming a Republican. Me and Johnny Tadlock. Hey, I like Johnny. You know what I'm saying? You name these two guys. I really, really liked them. And again, there were several of those guys. They had the floor leader, and what's the one you almost got in a fight with that one time? He was all right from Chickasha. You remember that, Bob?
Oh, no, I don't remember. But
yeah,
the bottom line is this: Richard Morissette passed away he had cancer. He died of cancer, and the family sending the body up to New Hampshire, I believe it is. They're not going to have anything here. So talk to the judge, or actually they called me and talk about, hey, we need to do something for this. So we're trying to get the House chambers to go up there and have a day to just to
that's
honor.
good. That's the way it ought to be, and it's nice that Republicans are taking the lead to honor a Democrat. You know, and again, that's the way we can get along. We can have disagreements and get along, but it's gotten so out of hand, you can't even have a discussion anymore. And again, this is what we're talking about. When you start saying, I hope you'll stick a gun in your mouth and pull the trigger, there ain't no, you know what I'm saying? And again, I'm known to shoot off at the mouth, no pun intended on there, but I'm known to shoot off the mouth pretty good. But I'll tell you what, I don't have a problem saying I'm sorry if I mess up. And if I said something like that, I think right after I said it, I go, now that was stupid to say. I shouldn't have said that. Don't mean
we're almost over time. We had a few minutes there, probably a minute.
Well, Bob, I guess we'll wrap it up. Guys, if you want to just kind of get the wrap up of what we're talking about, Ryan Walters has resigned, taking the job as a new CEO that's going after the teachers union. Their new union is going to be Teachers Freedom Alliance. We were talking about human trafficking being a huge problem in Oklahoma, and why can't we get our government leaders to look into that, as well as drumming on a bunch of these death penalty that is looking terrible. Golly, he's looking terrible, having backdoor communications, which is improper, making deals that he's going back on improper. Stitt's losing 4 of his top executives. Drummond's taking credit for it. It doesn't look like he can take credit for it. It looks like some of this is Drummond enlarged his agency to either double or triple. And again, part of that is the problem. And then we've got, again, this Bree Montoya. Is that how she spells it?
I don't know, but we're over. They probably already cut us off.
She's a councilwoman there at Norman that has made bad. So, guys, we enjoyed you. I'm proud you tuned in. Hey, go to jj4ok.com, jj4ok.com. Keep up with me as I run for Lieutenant Governor. Donate, get you a lovely Bigfoot shirt. Y'all have a blessed day.